This is the big inch. This is what we will be making. I call it the big inch. Some people might also call it a fractional inch scale. So let's begin. We'll start with a plain sheet of white paper. Fold it in half vertically, and remember from elementary school days, this is called hot dog style. Corner to corner. And give it a good crease right there. All right, next we're going to fold it. It's not perfect, but we're going to live with that anyway. We're going to fold it horizontally, or hamburger style, corner to corner, and give it a good crease right there in the middle. Make sure it gets a good crease. Open up right there, and we see a crease in the middle. We're going to make a line right in the middle, about 3/4 of the length of that line, like that. Right, that's our first fraction. We will label that 1/2. All right, fold the paper in half again. Fold it another time, going the same direction. Half, half again. So now we have quarters. We'll open it back up, and we're going to make another line. This time we'll make it shorter than this line. So that was about 3/4 of the length of the paper, or the width of the paper. Let's go to about the 1/2 inch mark, or the halfway mark, and make a line there. Same distance right here. Right, so we've got our 1/2 inch mark there. There's our next marks there. So our first fraction we label is 1/4. This is 2/4. We don't mark that. And 3/4. Now for the eighths. Fold it to where we were, and let's do one more fold, corner to corner, crease it really good, and open it back up. All right, looking at the creases, we'll make a new set of lines. We had our halves, our quarters, our eighths will be a little bit shorter yet. Make sure you make them neat right on the line. So we have our unit fractions, 1/2, 1/4. Our unit fraction now is 1/8. This would be 2/8, making this 3/8. There's 4/8, 5/8. You're catching on now, that's 6/8, 7/8, and if we go all the way to the end, that would be 8/8. All right, now for the 16ths. Fold the paper in half, fold it in half again, fold it in half one more time, back to our original creases. Make sure we've got those creases in there really good. And we're going to fold it one last time. Fold it over, give it a good crease, really get it in there. We can have an argument about how many times you can fold a sheet of paper later. And we will open that back up. So we had our halves, our quarters, our eighths. Next will be our 16ths, so we'll make an even shorter line yet. Again, working down the creases. All right, and now we're going to label the 16ths. There's a half, a quarter, 1/8. Our unit fraction here is 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, 8/16, 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12 sixteenths, 13 sixteenths, 14 sixteenths, and 15 sixteenths. That's it. You're done. Now, while we're looking at this, you might notice a couple things. For example, if we look at the numerator of each fraction, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 1, what do you notice about all of those numerators? Which ones did we skip? For example, we went 1 16th, we skipped this, and then went 3 16ths. Which numbers did we skip when we look at all of them? When you're trying to remember these fractions, half is pretty easy, and you just remember that 1/2 is 2/4, which is 4/8, which is 8 16ths. And if I can remember that, I can remember the fraction 1 unit over. So for example, if this is 8 16ths, that would be 7, and that would be 9. If we're looking at the eighths, 4/8, 1 more is 5/8, 1 less is 3/8. We can do the same thing from the end. So 1 inch will be the very edge of the paper, or 16 16ths. I can go back 1 to find 15 16ths. If we're doing eighths, I can go back 1/8 to find 7/8. The hardest fraction for me has always been 13 16ths because it just hangs out in no man's land. That and 11 16ths were the two hardest ones to practice. Now, when you're done with this, turn your paper over, and this is where it gets confusing because you lose track of all the lines. But we can take that half mark right there and recreate your ruler without any fractions. There's the quarter mark. There's my eighths. And last are my 16ths. Now you can use this blank ruler to test yourself. I know the longest one is always going to be 1/2. I know the next ones down will be my quarters, so I'll have 1/4 and 3/4. And we go to the next step down, that will be 1/8. 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, 7/8. And the smallest one will always be 16ths. Well, on this ruler always. When we start getting into other scales, you might notice that they get down to 30 seconds. So what I'd like to see on this, step 1, all of those fractions, this is an all or none. You have to get every single one perfect or basically start over. And then practice them until you can name every single one of those without looking. This has been The Big Inch. Mr. Schneider checking out.